Traditionally in the WWE, if the champions aren't white, it doesn't work out as well.
That's a problem.
But talking about a hot topic, we're getting to our signature segment, I'll call it, the 5-3-1.
You're goddamn right.
This week, it's the top 5 people who haven't made it in the Hall of Fame yet, and the only requirement being that they haven't wrestled in the last year. I'm going to start with my list, and if that last statement wasn't hot enough for you, top of my list is Chris Benoit. Second on my list, I put the Midnight Express.
Oh.
I put the two of them because Bobby Eaton you could put on his own. You can't do that to Stan Lane. Can't do that to Randy Rose. Or the other guy whose name I can't remember. Number 3, I had to give it to Kevin Sullivan, the wrestler.
Dennis Condrey, by the way. Go ahead.
Oh, Jesus. I'm sorry, Dennis. You just got over cancer, too. Number 4, I got Christian. And 5th on that list, I put Lance Storm.
Oh, that's a good choice.
Dave, what is your top 5 list?
Well, number 1 for me was The Rock, because I think he's pretty much retired now, and I don't think you're going to argue that that is the most influential performer not in the Hall of Fame. You can argue, but I don't see in terms of influence point. Number 2, Joe, I'm going to match your controversy. I got Chris Benoit on my list too, because it's not the best person Hall of Fame. It's the best wrestlers who haven't made it in the Hall of Fame. This guy's probably not going in, but he's one of the best damn wrestlers I've ever seen, and I have a feeling we're probably going to be unanimous on this fucking thing down the road. That being said, number 3, Magnum TA. I was surprised he wasn't in the Hall of Fame. This guy's had legendary feuds with Tully Blanchard, Nikita Koloff's Best of 7 series. His career was cut short, but definitely deserving of this Hall of Fame. Number 4, Owen Hart, technical wrestler, can do it all in the ring. His matches with Bret Hart. Owen had an outstanding career. I think he's definitely worthy of being in the WWE's Hall of Fame, as is my number 5, Flying Brian Pillman, a guy who I believe had not passed already, could have gone on possibly to be the next Rowdy Piper. That good of a heel on the mic.
All right, well, I might as well start off with Chris Benoit.
Goddamn right. Again, it's not the best person Hall of Fame.
It's the best worker.
Yeah.
If it's the best person, we wouldn't be able to do this podcast. It's definitely the best worker, and Chris Benoit's work rate is what got him over. It wasn't his thrilling promos where he would go into huge detail about his matches and describing what he was going to do to his opponents. It was his work rate, and there is no better pure worker and more believable worker that I've ever seen in my career other than maybe Brock Lesnar.
Kurt Angle, too.
Maybe Kurt Angle, but you saw the matches between Benoit and Kurt Angle.
I still remember those matches.
My God.
Yeah.
Owen Hart, you know what? He belongs in the Hall of Fame.
Our listeners are looking a little somewhere here.
He needs to do it for the fans, quite frankly. The fans who not only cheered for Owen Hart, but when Owen Hart was on the road, he would actually stay with fans and board with them while he was traveling. And his fan base loves him probably as much as anybody. We both have Magnum TA. Magnum TA, to me as a child, one of the most heartbreaking things that I saw in my lifetime was that car accident. And I know Joe's a couple years younger than we are, so I don't think it had quite the impact on his childhood that it had on us.
Joe's shaking his head callously no.
but I remember him not being able to stand up, but that's as far as I had it.
Well, weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. Me and Dave, I can tell you, both of us can remember in our childhood believing Magnum TA was going to take the belt from Flair.
I mean, I was probably a little more sad when Andre ripped the cross off of Hogan, but I get it.
Yeah. That's a little screwy. Rick Martel.
That's a good one. I didn't know he wasn't in the Hall of Fame.
He is not. They put Tito in by himself. They did not put in Strike Force.
So I think Strike Force wasn't in the Hall of Fame.
But Rick Martel is a former AWA champion. Very good worker throughout his whole career. Probably has made as many wrestlers look good. I think the match that all of us remember him for is the blindfold match with Jake the Snake Roberts. But he's one of those iconic wrestlers, and to me, he's the best wrestler ever from Canada.
I mean, here's a guy that was the AWA heavyweight champion in the early 80s, went on to have a great career in the WWF, and then went on, a lot of people don't remember this, during the Monday Night Wars, went to WCW and had the TV title for a little bit, too.
Exactly. So. Very good wrestler. I can't believe you no-sold my best wrestler ever from Canada.
Yeah, you kissed my ass on that.
Now, AJ, you said you wrestled with Rick Martel. What can you tell us a little bit about him?
I got to work matches with him, and first of all, one of the nicest people on the planet, bar none. He helped me so much in that ring. He obviously, being the veteran, having wrestled as long as he did, called everything in the ring that we did. He made those spots so easy for me, and I can tell you at the end of that match, I shook his hand, I thanked him, and I have never meant it more than working with Rick Martel. And it's probably the reason why I put him so high up on my Hall of Fame.
I remember you telling me a story, too, that I didn't quite get when I was younger, but what a class guy Rick Martel was, calling his wife all the time about going home, checking in on the family. I also wasn't aware that a lot of the wrestlers in that era might not have been the nicest guys to their wives and stuff,
I was very impressed with Rick Martel. I cannot tell you how impressed I was with him. I can't put it into words. And then I have one more. I got to tell you, I had my list. I started my list, and at first I had put Ole Anderson. I crossed off Ole Anderson.
Then you put Mike Awesome.
No. Then I put in Nikita Koloff because I realized Nikita Koloff not in the Hall of Fame. I crossed out Nikita Koloff, and the reason why is because the man who ended Bruno's role as World Heavyweight Champion,
he's not in the Hall of Fame.
Ivan Koloff, is not in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, no
How
shit.
can the man who beat Bruno Sammartino and had the impact on wrestling that Ivan Koloff had not be in the WWE Hall of Fame?
Well, so this is where we're going to narrow down to the 3. Joe's been keeping track here. I don't really have to keep track to know that Benoit made all 3 of our lists.
Benoit is a definite first ballot Hall of Famer. And I think, given the problems that Benoit created for wrestling fans when discussing overall just being talked about anymore, I want to give my personal reason why I included him, because I know a lot of people, the horrible tragedy that happened, they don't even want to discuss him in wrestling.
Sure.
But when I remember back to my childhood, he was a dynamic performer. He made those WCW programs pop, just his intensity.
Yep.
When you're looking at trying to sell something as legitimate as possible, Benoit lived and died for that. And if you read the book Ring from Hell by Matthew Randazzo, it outlines both Benoit's coming up in the business and his downfall. And while drugs is a huge part of it, he was an undersized wrestler that got into a business that doesn't value that. He picked the Dynamite Kid as a role model, both in the way that he took to the ring, the dangerous style, a little bit the attitude, and then when you put the drugs and everything on top of that, you got a guy trying so hard to do his best. He is at the top of his game and doesn't believe it for a second. So that is just a cocktail for disaster. Him and his whole family paid the price. And I think, while he probably shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, I don't think we shouldn't talk about him as a performer at all. Like that.
Right.
We should still be able to talk about him as a wrestler.
We don't have to
What
live
were
in
you
fear.
gonna say?
When they did the tribute the night after, before they had known what happened with Chris Benoit, you got people's genuine feelings about Chris Benoit. The amount of tears, the amount of people who let you inside and let you know what kind of a locker room leader he was. He was that guy who would give advice on every match. He was that guy that if you asked him, hey, watch my match, give me feedback, he was going to give you real, honest feedback that would help you progress.
And look at how he was during the Eddie Guerrero tribute. Like, could barely keep it together.
And I think part of Eddie dying, believe it or not, was what started to spiral his depression. I know it's easy to point the finger at the steroids and obviously the concussions and having the damage to the brain that they described as an 80-year-old man with Alzheimer's. It's easy to point at those things, and those are obviously the big things that gave to it. And I don't even blame the steroids. I know people want to blame the steroids.
It's more the head injuries.
It has more to do with the head injuries.
Yeah.
And then
maybe also the nature of the business. A guy pushing himself way past physical limits.
And he was writing in a diary. They have a diary that they found on the scene where he was still writing notes to Eddie Guerrero up until the point that he died. And the person that he contacted the day that he died was Chavo Guerrero.
Right.
So you can't tell me that the effects of the sadness. He watched a friend of his from Calgary, Owen Hart, died tragically. He lost his best friend in the world in Eddie Guerrero. He had another friend of his in Brian Pillman pass away. The man was besieged with trauma and then giving us, the fans, what we longed for in the matches that we loved. He did so much damage to himself that he was not the person that people knew beforehand.
And that's the common theme with that, is a lot of people will tell you that's not the man they remember. Chris Jericho has said that plenty of times. Like, he wrote in his book, about Chris Benoit was my friend, not Chris Benoit, the guy at his last few days. I don't know who that was.
And you got to look at it like, who would handle it well? It's almost like being a soldier in war. Seeing everybody, all your friends around you dying, and knowing that that is most likely coming at you, and not excusing what he did, but But that's where you go off the rails when you have that kind of anxiety and pressure.
And I know as a former wrestler, it's going to be easy for people to paint me with the brush and go, well, he's sympathetic to him because he's a wrestler and whatever they want to say. I want you to understand at the end of the day, nobody's okaying what happened.
No.
None of us are sitting here and going that Nancy Benoit or that his son deserved to die the way that they did.
No.
First of all, I was also a big woman fan, and as a human being, nobody deserves that.
Right.
So please, if you're going to tweet us and send messages about, oh, but Benoit's a monster, yeah, we know. In the final moments of his life, he was a monster. We know what happened. You can save those tweets or you can shove them up your ass, whatever you want to do with them.
Now let's get back to the top 3 list. I just wanted to take a minute to pay what I felt was proper tribute to Benoit the Worker. Moving on,
Owen Hart, right?
Owen Hart was on both your lists.
Was that
I mean,
automatically
he
over?
paid the ultimate price on the job. And the fact that he's not in the Hall of Fame, I know it's his wife's choice, but I would think he's got to be one of the biggest ones to be in there.
Well, yeah, and he made multiple lists, and he's at a tie for 2 votes. So to me, he's got to move on to the final 3.
All right, so moving on.
I do want to make an executive decision.
Yes.
I think we should leave Benoit off the final 3. I think we've discussed him enough, quite frankly.
Yeah, we gave him. I think we gave him the proper highlight.
Yeah,
So if that's the case, then
That
Magnum
means-
TA is going to actually move on too, right?
So we got Owen Hart, and I was gonna say Magnum TA was gonna be the last of the 3. So who do we pick for another one now?
Well,
Because
who do we
I
have?
thought Benoit was gonna be the definite one to go on and win.
I do, and I think that he would win this. And quite frankly, I think that it would be wrong if we were to put him as the person who deserves most to be in the Hall of Fame.
True.
And I just think that's inappropriate as much as we all appreciate what he did.
From a work standpoint, right?
I'm gonna
Exactly.
give a vote to the Midnight Express, not just because I chose them, but during the 80s, in the 90s, if Cornette is such a big name, the Midnight Express deserves to be right up there with him. They came to power together, both in the NWA and the territories.
Who are you?
Powerhouse package. They still sell to this day.
Who are you leaning towards, David?
Well, I think if I give a different name than Joe, you're going to have the final vote here. You're one of us, so I was trying to lean towards you picking somebody.
Luckily, I got my words out first.
You did. Man, I'm sorry. Like, this guy, he's not somebody who I think about, like, in that terms of, like, that old timers and everything like that. But, man, The Rock is just on my list. He's the most influential. I mean, he's going to be there anyway. Is there a reason to disqualify him?
Wow.
He probably deserves that spot that we were going to give to Benoit. He's transitioned from wrestling to movies. He's a draw on his own name.
All right, let's be.
So let's just say if we just
Let's be clear. The Rock belongs in there no matter what.
Right.
But The Rock is going in.
Okay, so this is the best you are not getting in.
Yeah, I'm going to give him.
So wait a minute, then, if that's the case. So let me back up here a little bit before we go to that thing, because now he's got the Midnight Express. I'm not disagreeing with that. I want us to take an opportunity to look. I think I know who you're going to pick anyway, but you know what? Doesn't matter. Midnight Express. Because I was thinking Brian Pillman, but at the end of the day, Midnight Express has had more successful longevity.
There's part of me that wants to go with Ivan Koloff just because it's long past
Ooh, Ivan Koloff is a good one.
And I'll be honest with you, I don't think Ivan's ever going to go in.
Yeah, this is the most wishy-washy I've ever been on a subject.
Or he's going to be lumped in with one of those horrible groups
Yeah.
that the WWE
Is he going to
does.
go in with the Russians?
I believe the Midnight Express are going to go in.
Is this list about people that aren't going in?
No.
or just aren't in
No.
yet?
It is not in yet.
You're just trying to find a different.
I'm just trying to
Twist
find
on it?
a little slightly different twist on it here. And one of the Russians already is in, by the way, Barry Darso. Buster Khrushchev is already in. Yes. But I'm actually going to go Midnight Express. I just wanted to mention Ivan Koloff again because Ivan Koloff, I don't believe is going to ever get that opportunity on his own, which is a shame. I am going to go Midnight Express, and the reason why is, to me, you don't have the great matches that the Rock and Roll Express had without the Midnight Express.
Okay, so
Every hero needs a villain. Czarface said it.
Exactly, and
So-
Jim Cornette as part of that was absolutely incredible.
we got Magnum TA, the Midnight Express, and Owen Hart. Is that correct?
Yep.
All right, who do you eliminate first on that? Go ahead.
Based on unfortunately tragic body of work,
Yep.
Magnum TA only lasted about 5 years,
Okay.
and he doesn't have the body of work that the other people have, and I know it's not fair.
He didn't follow it up with enough of an announcing career, you don't think, or enough of being a personality?
No.
His announcing career was maybe 5 gigs at the most, and
I mean, he had more, but it's not like he stands out.
Exactly. And
Maybe if there wasn't Bob Caudle and Jim Ross during that time period either.
And I love Magnum, obviously putting him on my list, but to me, he's got to be the first one off. I don't know how you feel, Dave.
When you say body of work, it has to be him or Owen. So yeah,
Owen wrestled over a decade.
No, I know, but
and he wrestled Liger in Japan.
But I'm saying the body of work, the Midnight Express has the longest body of work. So
the length of your body of work doesn't necessarily have to if you've got good quality within a short amount of time. Being the son of a promoter in Stampede, that's going to give you a large amount of work that little to no one saw, but that paid off in dividends when he made it to the WWE and was just as polished as his brother. I
feel like we're already discussing Midnight Express and Owen Hart here. Magnum.
Oh yeah, that's what we're down to. Magnum's out.
Magnum's out. All right, fair enough. I'm going to tell this story Jim Cornette told on his podcast, and this is going to give you my vote. Brett and Owen ran into the Midnight Express at an airport back, during the days when everybody's there. And I guess Brett, they all talked to each other. Brett was so wrapped up in the WWE days and stuff and everything, and I guess he went up to Owen and asked him, hey, who were those guys? And this is back when Brett was teaming with Jim. The Anvil Heart Foundation, obviously. And Owen goes, oh, that's Midnight Express. They're the greatest tag team in the world. And Brett goes, no, that's me and Jim. So my point is, if Owen Hart thought the Midnight Express was the greatest tag team in the world, then I love Owen. Owen's actually my favorite person on all our lists, by the way. But I'm going to go Midnight. Joe won me over.
Okay, so I agree with Owen. I do think they were the greatest tag team in the world. Plus, they were great no matter which combination it was.
Yeah.
Dan Lane and Bobby Eaton was just as good as Dennis Condrey and Bobby Eaton.
And one more thing about this, too. Bobby Eaton had great world title matches with Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Which also makes me sad because, we did say they had to compete in the last year. And the Steiner brothers might have made my list otherwise.
Guys, I hate to end this in a stalemate, but
I was only giving my side for the Midnight Express. I'm actually pro Owen.
Okay.
Owen, to me, was actually the best wrestling Hart. I think technically and...
Not Keith?
No, not Keith.
No, I think technically wise, I know that Brett's the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. I think Owen actually wrestled better matches because he could wrestle a different variety of matches, whereas Bret Hart basically wrestled the same match every time I saw him.
I will argue that point, though. Brett, one of his greatest claim to fame was he never hurt anybody in the ring.
No.
Ask Stone Cold Steve Austin about Owen Hart.
This is our first ever non-agreement on the issue, so we're going to put it out to the audience. Who do you think should be the best worker that hasn't made it into the Hall of Fame, that hasn't wrestled in the last year?